Welcome to Life So Far. I'm Rich Bryant and I sit down with everyday people from all different backgrounds to hear the wisdom and stories from their life so far. Thank you so much for stopping by and I really hope you enjoy this next conversation. Alrighty. Josh, welcome to Life So Far, mate.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
No worries at all. So we can all get to know you. How old are you?
I'm 21, just turned 21 in December.
Oh, happy birthday for
thank
December. You. What do you do for a job?
So I'm a department manager at McDonald's.
Nice. What does a department manager do at McDonald's?
So the way it's set up, there's a restaurant manager, assistant restaurant manager, and then there's 3 departments within the restaurant. Yeah. So there's people performance, which is what I run, so crew training.
What's it called? Peak performance?
People performance.
Oh,
yeah.
Sounds like a Nike commercial.
Oh, no. Yeah, so just running the training, hiring, making sure people have uniforms. Yeah. Product quality, which is ordering, maintaining the quality of the food there. And then customer experience, which is making sure our customers get a good experience.
Nice.
And also doing the crew roster.
Awesome. Cool stuff. And you're studying, aren't you? Or you're
going into study. So I'm doing nursing this year. Yeah. Got to look out. It's still January. I almost said next year.
Yeah. 2021.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So going into nursing, which I'm pretty keen for.
Awesome, mate. And what do you do in your spare time?
Love playing the music.
Yeah. What instruments do you play?
Bass.
Yeah.
As fellow bass players, I'm sure we can have that mutual respect.
Bass players unite.
That's right.
Awesome. Yeah, that's super exciting. So, let's jump straight into it then.
Yeah, sure.
What's the best piece of advice you've ever received?
Best piece of advice I've ever received? Probably from a leadership podcast that I listened to. It was a long time ago, so I forget the name. But he was talking about, growing up teams and being a good leader. And one thing that resonated from that for me was that you catch a lot more flies with honey than you do with vinegar. Mm. And I really, really love that quote. And it's something that I try and lead by when I'm at work, but also just live by.
So what does that mean? So you unpack that a little bit. What do you mean by catching more flies with honey than vinegar?
Basically, just walk around and be a sweet person.
Yeah.
Leave a sweet taste in people's mouths when they meet you. Don't walk around and be bitter and angry and
I like that.
Push people away, I guess.
It's so true, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. The old saying of like, what is it? Nice guys finish last. It's quite false.
Yeah, exactly. It's a old saying, I guess.
Yeah, definitely.
So it's something that I try and live by. And coming up from a young age, I was in a leadership role at McDonald's at a fairly young age. I think I became a manager at 20 or 19 it was. I was 19, so I was still
Maccas
super
take it
young.
super seriously, don't they?
Yeah.
Like they're, from what I understand, they're quite renowned for their leadership training. And
oh, yeah, it's intense.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Like we have to go through all of this. It's a 5-day course.
Wow.
Well, it used to be a 5-day course that they ran at Aspley, and they go over all of this awesome people training skills and how to run shift and deal with aggressive customers and
a lot of that.
All sorts of stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, cool stuff. What's the happiest moment of your life?
Happiest moment? I'd probably have to say whenever I'm playing music. Like that's a fair bit, but especially with my band.
What's the name of your band?
Kane Misson and the Young Americans.
Say it again.
Kane Misson and the Young Americans.
Kane Misson.
Yeah.
So he's the lead singer?
Yeah, he's the lead singer.
And the Young Americans.
Yeah.
But you're Australian.
Yes. So there's a backstory I can unpack there.
Yeah.
So Kane, the singer, had a whole bunch of songs that he had written, just singer-songwriter sort of thing. And he was like, oh, it'd be cool if I got a band to this. So he approached us all and we made a cool little band.
Awesome.
I'm like, what do we call ourselves? And our lead guitarist, Spencer, he has an American accent when he talks sometimes.
Okay.
And that's because he had a speech impediment when he was younger. And he learnt how to speak through American cartoons.
Wow, yeah, wow.
So he's got that slight American accent at times, and we pay him out a bit for it.
That's cool.
Like, man, you grew up in Ipswich, but you've got this American accent.
Yeah. It's got like American twang to it.
Yeah.
Because you studied it did you study at the conservatorium?
Yeah, I studied at the conservatorium for about 6 or 8 months.
Yeah.
It was around that.
Yeah. Awesome.
So that's where I met all these awesome guys that
Yeah.
we've made our band and
And
still
what
playing
is
together.
What is it about playing music that makes you so happy, do you think?
I definitely think it's just just being able to connect with people. Like as a fellow musician, I'm sure you can understand that, when you're playing together, it's just a different level of connection.
It is, isn't it? You're all in sync.
Yeah.
You're all doing a part. Yeah.
And especially when we're all really good mates, it's just like awesome to hang out and be doing what we all love. And also just seeing other people enjoy what we're doing. That's probably my biggest thing, just seeing people dance and enjoy the music and atmosphere. It just gives me goosebumps sometimes when I'm playing, and just such a joy to be there.
Awesome, man. What sort of music does your band play?
I hate when people ask this question because it's like hard to give a description.
Can't put us in a box. kind of
Yeah,
thing.
exactly.
Yeah, that's
but I'd
cool.
say we're an indie rock sort of band,
Yeah,
indie
awesome.
rock pop.
All right. Well, so people that are listening will link some stuff to that, I'm sure.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I'm sure we can send some people your way, because Josh is a extremely good bass player.
Thanks.
For someone who plays bass, Josh is much better than I am.
Oh.
But anyway, moving on.
Yeah, moving on.
What's been your greatest struggle?
Greatest struggle, probably the last 3 years. Coming out of school, it's just that whole 3-year period of transitioning from being in a comfortable environment, I guess, for 5 years in high school, and then transitioning to full-time study, which is what I went straight into. And I think the most difficult time would have been that first year out of high school, because I was studying at the con, but I just had this feeling that it was destroying my hobby.
Yeah, right. Okay. So what do you mean? Like, unpack that a little bit. So you're obviously love music, you love playing it, and
Yeah.
you're studying. What were you studying at for people listening, the con is the Conservatorium.
Yeah,
of Music,
Conservatorium of Music.
which
It's
is
at
our-
South Bank.
Yeah, big college in Brisbane here.
Yeah.
What do you mean by that? How is it destroying your hobby?
So to keep up with all of the demands of the degree, I guess, there was just so much strenuous practice that I had to do, like learning scales, learning modes, learning solos, and transcribing stuff. And I love just playing music and kind of like you have to have a bit of a baseline of theory to know what you're doing.
Yeah, no pun intended.
Yeah. No pun intended. Excuse the pun. But you obviously have to have that knowledge about what you're doing, so you're playing in the right key or whatever.
Yeah.
But I just felt like practice was a chore. The amount of practice that we had to do like 2 to 3 hours a day,
Wow.
or some of the guys would do even longer. Like
Yeah.
they would be
Just to
there at
keep
6
up.
a.m., go home at 6 p.m.
Yeah. What was your course? Sorry, what were you studying?
So I was studying jazz music.
Jazz
It was a
music,
bachelor
yeah,
of jazz music.
yeah. Majoring in like bass. Is that
in
how it
bass,
works?
yeah.
Yeah.
And it was a 3-year course. And I was just like, it took a long time to reflect upon it. I was just like, it's just too difficult, and I'm destroying this hobby, and I might end up hating music and walk away from it. So I end up deferring and kind of just working for 2.5 years.
Yeah. How did so you obviously would have gone into that. Well, I'm just assuming you would have gone into that wanting to be a professional musician.
Yeah.
Was that your goal?
Yeah.
So then how did you then kind of transition into, so you said you're studying nursing this year. How did that pop up?
Yeah, so I finished up at the con, stayed enrolled within Griffith because I knew I wanted to go back and study, but I just felt a pressure to study. Like I felt a bit guilty dropping back and talk to a few people, and a few older people who have a different idea of what study looks like, and like you might, drop out of the zone of studying and it might be hard to transition back into it. But I just was thinking about it and chatted to all different people about what to do, career paths and stuff like that. And at one point I wanted to go into the police, but I decided not to do that because I talked to one of my dad's mates is a senior sergeant down at Logan, and he looks after child crime. So I had a chat to him and he said it's really difficult. And I was like, I don't really want that. Yeah,
if it doesn't, it's good to kind of identify if it won't agree with your personality necessarily. Yeah,
exactly. And I've always had a passion for looking after people, for caring people, for caring for people.
Yeah, you have a caring nature
Yeah.
about you. Yeah.
So I was like, my aunt's a nurse, so I chatted to her, chatted to a few other people, some of my friends that are doing nursing. I was like, nursing seems like a pretty good gig, so
Yeah.
I put in an internal transfer for that, and hopefully, fingers crossed, I get in.
Okay, yeah.
But I'll find out
I'm sure you
soonish,
will.
yeah. But I'm really excited for that.
Yeah, awesome, man. And nursing, it's so... Most of my mum's a nurse, or was a nurse. She's retired now, but
Okay.
I have a bunch of friends that are nurses.
Yeah.
There's so much... It's like being a doctor. Like, there's so many different facets of it and different things you can specialize in, and you can always kind of train up as you go. And that's really exciting. I'm sure you'll get in. So
Yeah.
awesome, mate. Yeah. What has been... Oh, hang on. We've already asked that one. How do you want to be remembered?
How do I want to be remembered?
That's a very deep question.
That is a very deep question.
How old are you? 20?
21.
21. That's a big question for a 21-year-old.
So I've got a fairly long life ahead of me.
Yeah.
Young whippersnapper. But I guess I just want to be remembered as someone who was really caring and fun to be around and just made people laugh, I guess.
Yeah.
Someone to be enjoyable to be around and
Very
attract
cool.
people in.
Yeah. Be that honey for people.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
That sounds really sounds really sexual, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Be that honey.
Be that honey.
For somebody. But yeah, that's and you just, as you say, like, if you want to be a caring person, and you said you've got a caring personality, nursing, it's funny how kind of a lot of those things all play into each other.
Yeah.
And even with your band, we were talking before we recorded, you guys were meant to be recording an EP this weekend, but for people who are listening or watching, Brisbane, we've just gone into another lockdown for 3 days, which is fantastic around the whole COVID thing.
Yeah.
But that's part of that. You want to be someone who makes people happy, entertains.
Yeah.
Even though you are young, or we both are young, you're younger than I am. The reason that I asked that question is because I feel like if we can start to think about that, then that informs the decisions that we make in our own life. You know, we go, well, that's the way I want to be remembered. Will me going to do this or that action, is that going to help or detract from that memory? So it sounds like you're on the path to that. So
yeah, and I think it's a good question for a young person too, because how you are remembered, you want to try and keep that as consistent as possible.
Definitely,
I guess. And if you work that out at a young age and get on that journey of growing yourself and focusing on things to become that person, then you're off to a great start.
And I think so many people, sadly, myself included, I never thought about this stuff.
Yeah.
You kind of just get on like an autopilot of life.
Yeah.
And things come at you and you just take them. And in the moment you are thinking about, I'll take that job, or I'll apply for that job because of this and this. But if you start to kind of have that big, 10,000 feet view, I feel like you can then kind of almost design your life within reason. Like, that sounds like should be like a self-help book or something.
Yeah.
But you can kind of design your life, and that goes through everything. You go, well, if I want to be like this, who are the people that I need to have in my life?
Exactly.
And you can kind of identify the people who aren't healthy or helping you in your life.
Yeah.
So it is important. I think if more of us took the time, put our phone away for a moment and started to think about, actually, what do we want to do in our life?
Yeah. And what do I want to do to grow myself and build myself up to make a contribution to the world? Yeah,
definitely. And I think it's important, as you said, it's thinking about what do I want to do, but it's thinking about that in partnership with, which is why the how do I want to be remembered question. It's like, how, at the end of the day, there's no point just having a great life for you. It's how do you treat other people?
How can you serve other people's lives and be remembered? And I think last year was probably good for that, because 2020 was a rubbish year for most people. But I think
dumpster fire.
Yeah. I think for most people though, and especially speaking for me, it was a good year to actually just drop back and reflect on a lot of things and plan out what I wanted to do, and that's where I got a lot of my growth in my personality.
Yeah.
And who I wanted to be was last year, because I just had that time in lockdown to reflect and try and separate myself from social media and escape that rut that it is just sitting there scrolling through rubbish.
People complaining.
Yeah, exactly.
Which rightly so. There's a lot of things to complain about.
Oh, for sure.
I'm so glad that you took the opportunity and recognized that as an opportunity to kind of have some introspection and think about what I want to do and what life's about, rather than just go, oh, I'm stuck inside.
Yeah.
This sucks so much. I need to go and buy more toilet paper.
Yeah, that's right.
Like,
there's none. There's none in aisle 11.
So you come out of that period like worse than you potentially went in, you know? So that's a sign of maturity, I think, is kind of that, you know, how can I make the most of a bad situation?
Yeah,
so,
just keeping that optimistic perspective, because I know mental health was a really, really big thing last year and still is, because it's uncertain times. People haven't seen family from overseas and it's just an insecure environment we're living in. Like today, woke up this morning, had all of these plans for the weekend and it's like, boom, not happening, gone skis. And it's like really tough for a lot of people. But I think staying in a good headspace and reflecting and making the most of everything is just super important. And then when you've got that under control, you can help other people and serve other people. Yeah. Like, you know, check up on your mates, like, how you going?
Yeah, definitely.
What's happening? Are you good? Can I support you?
Yeah, it's that, you know, even I had a bunch of people that I was meant to do this with today and sit down and chat with, and you wake up and you see the news reports and there is that kick in the guts where you're like, and there's something, I think, another level of it. It's not just the people have got something on and they've cancelled, because that's one thing. Yeah. I think there's something about it being, for me anyway, there's another level where it's kind of like, I literally can't do this.
It's like outside of your control.
Yeah, it's like illegal to go to do this. Yeah. For me, who's somebody who is notorious for hating like authority, I have to be careful that I don't just go into a deep dive of like, oh, the world sucks. Like,
catastrophizing everything.
Yeah. And reframe it and go, you know what? Josh is still available. I can chat to Josh. Yeah. And then there's a whole bunch of work that I should be doing rather than chatting to people. Yeah. I can now use that to go and do that. And that's not easy. That's easier said than done for a lot of people. But it's reframing that. You have to reframe everything, I think, just in order to get through life.
Perspective, like just twist that perspective. And I know it's easier said than done. Like for so many people, it's like just, you know, don't be sad or whatever. But it's not there's so much more behind it. But I think it's just important to really exercise that mindfulness and reflect on yourself and realize when you're not okay.
Definitely, yeah. So the last question, I almost forgot where we're up to there.
Yeah, that's all right. We got a bit deep in that one there. Got a bit carried away.
Went down a rabbit hole. Yeah. But I think it was a good rabbit hole.
Yeah, that was good.
There were many rabbits that came out of the hole. What piece of advice would you give to people that are watching or listening?
Yeah, okay. Honestly, my biggest thing this year that I want to focus on is just be present. Yeah. Be present in what's happening there and not worry about last year or yesterday or what is to come. Because that was a big thing for me last year. I'd get so anxious about the next day and whether we can hang out or see family and stuff like that. And also social media. Get off that. Yeah. So what I've done this year is I've deleted Facebook off my phone.
Smart move.
So I can still stay in touch with people and check up on social media and whatever, still be connected, but I actually have to physically get my laptop to do that. And I don't usually sit on my laptop before I go to bed. Yeah. What I found was if there was an awkward situation and I was around people, straight away, phone comes out. But instead, look around and look at what you're missing because there's so much going on around you and just be more present with connecting with people, not through social media, but in person.
Yeah, that's really cool. I think that's just so key, isn't it? It's that we are in a world where we have so many things vying, or is that the word, vying for our attention? I think that's the right word.
Fighting, I guess.
Fighting, yeah. I don't think I'd use the word vying in any other context. Maybe that's
Maybe Google it later and see the definition.
Yeah, all the grammar people are like, what an idiot!
What a numpty over
here. But we have so much stuff that just wants our attention, and it's usually as you said, like you're sitting at a table with a bunch of friends. Usually the thing that's kind of niggling at us and wants our attention is like nowhere near as good as what's right in front of us. And it's important and it's so damn hard. And it's something like anything that takes practice to kind of just be like even now, there's things in the back of your head that can be like, oh, I have to do this later.
Yeah, exactly.
But there's something about being in a conversation, actually just listening and going, don't worry about anything else that's happening. What is Josh saying right now?
Yeah.
But doing that in all of our relationships, and not even necessarily just in a chat, but just in you walking down the street. And this sounds really new agey and whatever, but be present in that moment, you know, take in what's around you, listen to your environment. Because I think we've all seen it. You see everyone walks down the street, they're looking at their phone.
Yeah.
You know, you like just look up for a while and
enjoy nature, enjoy the trees.
Yeah.
And be grateful that we live in such a beautiful country.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's really good advice. And it's something that I definitely need to constantly remind myself of. I've been experimenting a bit recently with like meditation stuff. Okay. So not like you know, cross my legs on the floor and
on a yoga mat and
because
do 50 yoga positions.
Yeah, because my knees will just explode. Yeah, because I'm the most inflexible man on the planet. But I've just been using that, you know, Headspace. Just that app. They've just got some really cool things, and it's 5 minutes, sit in a chair, focus on your breath, and I just feel so damn good after it. You're like, okay, I can go and start the day, or I can continue my day. And there's just something about it, because we never do that as people anymore. You just don't stop. Like, you're always doing something. So,
and there's always something getting your brain going.
Definitely. So,
and stimulating it.
Yeah, I definitely think, and we watched there's a thing on Netflix at the moment from Headspace, which is like a guide to meditation where they talk about it and the history of it. There's a reason why people have been doing it for thousands of years. They haven't had scientific language around it, but they've just all gone, oh, this does something for me. I'm going to continue doing this. So yeah, that's really cool. So if people want to, follow you or follow your band, keep up to date and maybe get to know you a bit more, where is the best places that they can reach you?
Probably Instagram, because that's the one app that I kind of was like, I'll keep this just as a in case. And I just love seeing what people are doing. Like, I think that's the new age thing. Most people are on Instagram as opposed to Facebook or whatever, because it's just a picture and you don't get any of the drivel that comes through your news feed. It's just like
Facebook news feed's like a cesspool.
Oh yeah, it's a pit that you fall into, and then because the videos, that's what gets me. You watch the video and then it recommends another one.
That infinite scroll, and
then it's like, I just spent an hour and a half watching nonsense.
Yeah. I've found on. So, sorry, before we go too far, what's your Instagram?
Oh, yeah, sure. It's jmads_. So, JMADZ_.
All right, and I'll put that in a link for that in the description as well.
Yeah, cool.
And for people who have forgotten, what's the name of your band again?
So, our band is Kane Missin and the Young Americans. No worries. I've got the tag in my profile there. So, feel free to show us some love and give us a follow to stay up to date with our EP when we finally get to record it.
Yeah. And then once this whole COVID thing goes away, hopefully you can be doing some gigs again. So.
Yeah, well, we did a gig our first and last gig of last year. So it was on the 5th of December. So it was like, thanks for coming, guys. It's our first gig of the year, but also the last.
So hopefully 2021 will be a much better year. Yeah. Once we can get rid of all this COVID crap.
Rubbish, yeah.
So anyway, mate, this has been great. I had an absolute blast.
Yeah, it's been awesome. Thanks for having me.
Learned a lot from you as well.
Cool, thank you.
Yeah, it's been really cool. So everybody, thanks so much for listening, and we'll see you guys next time. Bye.
I really hope you enjoyed that last conversation. If you're watching on YouTube or listening on Spotify, it would mean the absolute world if you like and subscribed or left a positive comment. I know you've heard this all before, but these things really do help the channel grow. Thank you so much for your support, and I'll see you in the next episode.